So here we are in StatShark to show a little feature that they are working on that it's very interesting, guys. I will leave the link in the description for StatShark. So now that you can actually go to the, missile calculator over here, and you will be able to create your own missiles. So you can click here and basically change every single aspect of a missile. I still believe that it's work in progress, okay? Some things are a little bit bugged sometimes for me. I don't know if I'm doing something wrong. I don't think so, but anyway, making sure that basically we have a lot of stuff here that will be able to show what ifs of a missile, right? In this case, for example, the AIM-9X, right? So I created the AIM-9X here, and we can even compare it to the AIM-9M, for example, right? And see how these two missiles would perform if air-launched. That's the main idea, right? So, for example, in a target that it's running away from you or getting up to you, like at, I don't know, let's do like 5,000 meters over here and 10 kilometers of distance with a target that it's moving towards you at a very low speed, so that we can calculate basically what these missiles would actually be like. For some reason, yeah, there you go. So for example, how the missile would actually make it work. Sometimes, like I said, it is a little bit bugged, a little bit, but it shows basically the difference from, for example, an AIM-9M and an AIM-9X. But how do I get this information from the AIM-9X? Well, that's the thing. You go to here, which is the spreadsheet made by Company and Zabi that I will also leave in the description, that you can bring all the information that you need for the missile to actually be put it there and test it out. You can test IRIS-Ts, you can test AIM-9Xs, you can, if you can, it would be impossible almost, but you can try to, for example, bring the information of the R-37 or an AIM-120D and try to see how it would actually kind of look like, maybe extrapolating some of the numbers and stuff to try to make them be very, very, realistic, and try to see what a missile like that could actually be like. So it is a very interesting feature. Like I said, for me, it's a little bit bugged. It is doing some weird things. I tested with the IRIS-T, and for some reason, it was down to the burn time, the amount of flight time they had. So it's still work in progress, I'm pretty sure. For example, here, one of the bugs, it appears that the AIM-9X will not turn, for example, but for other missiles that I tested, the parameters, it is working. So I'm still trying to figure out if it's me that I'm doing something wrong or if it's actually work in progress. But basically, you can have to put the name of the missile if you want to, and all of this information. So for example, what is the mass of the missile? So I will go here, go up here. Oh, this is the mass. So I copy that and put it here. What is the caliber of the missile in meters, right? In millimeters, it's, so here, for example, you put 0.127 and so on and so on. You will bring every single, little thing about the missile and add it there so that the missile actually has a performance, and then you can test it out and compare it to other missiles, which is pretty interesting. Like I said, still having some bugs in my part over here. I don't know if I'm doing something wrong, but it is a pretty interesting thing for us to actually test it out. I hope in the future you can go just in the normal and click here. They add something like this for aircraft, because, for example, I could actually bring the Su-30SM over here and then completely change just the engine that it has, right? So, for example, I can just, I don't know, add a certain power to the aircraft to compare to the SM2 and what the SM2 would look like. I can bring an F-15 that would have a weaker engine or a stronger engine, or that will have a little bit more turn or whatever, so you can bring anything that you want here, which I think it's a very cool feature that it might not, have the biggest use for the average player, but for us that like to test stuff, that like to show stuff for you guys in graphs and try to understand what is happening in the game, this is actually a very good feature, okay? Very, very good feature. So yeah, very interesting to see this. Of course, the main feature with this would be to actually test the energy levels of a missile and compare it to another one. So in this case, let me bring the AIM-9M and let me checking if you're human. Yeah. Oh no, AIM-9M, and then the R-73, for example, to see how they perform against each other. So, for example, let's add yeah, about that speed, kind of a like very slow target just to see how the missile would work. So actually let's put like 1000 kilometers per hour because that's very slow. So 5000 meters, and also the distance 20 kilometers, just to be very, very far away, right? And then we can actually take a look what the missile would look like. So in this case we're gonna calculate, and oh, it bugged a little bit. Can I go up for some reason? But I can go like this. So as you see, for example, here, the actual, you know, AIM-9X has a lot more energy than the AIM-9M and R-73. I mean, some of the missiles are timing out. For example, the for some reason the R-73 is timing out. Does he only have like 20 seconds of a? No, that's wrong, right? I have to check this. Hold up. He actually only has 20 seconds. I never noticed that. I mean, it's a short-range missile, so it doesn't matter too much. But as you can see, for example, in this case, the AIM-9X has a lot more range than some of the other missiles that we see over here. And look, with the loft that it does, it can do way better like distances, way better distances. It can hit a target that it's 15 kilometers away. So that's how good the AIM-9X is, right? So it's incredible. It really is incredible. And that's probably why the missile will not be added for now for aircraft, because it would be too OP. I mean, look at this energy and loft capability together with a 50G limit, right? For some reason, like I said, I'm not able to properly use everything over here, but we can kind of take a look. I mean, look at the thrust that he has. So it has less thrust than the R-73, right? But look at the drag. It has way less drag as well. It's the least amount of every single one. So it is very nimble, very light, and very low drag missile. And it has a very high thrust, which means it can get to those distances very, very far, right? What is the problem with this missile compared to some of the stuff that we see? I mean, this would be 50 Gs, of course. Like I said, it's a little bit bugged. But in a general sense, what is that? But yeah, as you can see, it can get to the 50 Gs. But what does it mean, actually, this for ground combat? So we can even take a look on situations. For example, let me remove this and just look at the AIM-9X in particular, right? And let's do a different shot. So here we had a shot that was basically just made for a target that it's flying, you know, at the same altitude, coming towards you and stuff, and it will do this. But what if, I mean, it can hit a target pretty well at 15 kilometers. But what if you are at 0 meters with a 0 speed in a target that it's flying at 1,000 kilometers per hour at 5,000 meters? What does that do with the missile? So we can actually take a look on that as well. We can even have like a launch angle to have kind of a perpendicular launch over here. And let's calculate again. Oh, let me actually put like 2 and 2 just to calculate again. Yeah, there we go. So as you're going to see, the missile is going to be way worse, like nothing compared to it. And this is the idea, guys, that if it was air launched, for example, in this case, it would already hit the target at 15 kilometers. See? And the missile isn't even, you know, half the distance. We are already at less than Mach 1 in speed, as you see, Mach 0.81. So this is an incredible way to explain stuff to you guys, that why does the AIM-9X or a certain missile in particular is so bad when it's fired from a 0 perspective, right? This is one of the reasons. It will actually hit the target, but at around a very low speed that would probably never even hit the target in actual reality. So it's just, you know, it's a lot harder for the missile to do this. So this is an ideal situation to explain this as well, right? So it's a very cool little feature that they had here. Like I said, work in progress still, but you can have some ideas on how the AIM-9X will work depending on altitude and distance. We can, again, put a very, very high altitude over here and a very high speed, and you will notice, for example, that, let me calculate, the missile will hit a target that it's, you know, very far away, up more than 15 kilometers. And when it's down to the ground, you can analyze this and really notice what the missiles are doing. So very cool. Like I said, work in progress, but it is a very cool feature on StatShark. So again, I will leave it in the description. And yeah. So if I'm missing anything, let me know in the comments. I really, honestly, I think I put it everything there, but you can mess with it. The link is in the description. And let's see if we can actually make this thing actually work and, you know, try to see how an AIM-9X or RS-3 or anything like that would look like if it would be air launched. That would be a cool thing, wouldn't it? So yeah, but basically this is it. I hope you enjoyed. Make sure to subscribe. And yeah, see you guys. Bye.